Guys, it's me, Shawl360, and this is the review for episode 13 and 14 of Uncontrollably Fun. Man, these two episodes, action-packed, especially episode 14. Like, episode 14 might be one of my favorite episodes so far. But yeah, I could talk about them for so long because there was just so much impact for me. There were so many things that were cringy to me, so many things, like, I just had really strong feelings about, that really, if I was to do this review the way I wanted to, it would be just like a non-stop rant about, like, entitlement and, you know, sexual assault and just all kinds of stuff, you know, class struggle. There's just a lot in these episodes to take in, and so I'm not sure if I can do the whole timeline thing because a lot of things kind of layer on each other. So I think I'm going to go by character, and I'm going to start with a character I never start with. I'm going to start with Noel. I'm going to start with Noel because the beginning of episode 13 was kind of a comparison contrast of the life that Jung-un has led according to her Instagram profile from the moment that she ran over Noel's father, and it shows kind of the path of Noel's life and how, you know, she's been struggling and just, you know, having her mind torn apart by the injustices that have been forced on her. Meanwhile, Jung-un has been living this carefree, easy street life, living in Hawaii, studying baking around the world, and just having a great time. So, back to Noel. So she comes in the beginning of episode 12. She sees Jun-young for the first time since she got out of jail, and she wants an explanation as to, you know, why he hasn't been in contact with her. She calls his phone, he answers it. Obviously, he didn't change his number, so what's the deal? And he's just like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And Noel's like, okay, fine, I'm going to go get drunk then. But she changes her mind at the last minute at the convenience store, decides not to buy the soju, and goes to Noribang with her boss, and has a good time. While she's at the Noribang, she sees one of the assistants of Jun-young being harassed by these three guys. And she walks by at first because, you know, she's kind of like, that's none of my business, you know, I'm not in that life of saving folks anymore. But then she hears it starts to get a bit scary, and she's like, you know what, I'm not that fucking heartless. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to jump in. So she jumps into this fight. They have this fight, and at the end of the fight, Jun-young comes in and he breaks it up because he had been trying to call his manager, and the manager, he could hear the fight in the background. So Jun-young breaks it up, and she kind of follows him like, hey, that wasn't our fault. It was those three guys. They were trying to ease up on your cousin. I was trying to save her. And Jun-young's like, what do you want? And she's like, I hurt myself. See, I got a bobo right here, and see my eye, I'm hurt right here, and I got like a fist-sized bruise on my butt, and I think I broke a rib, don't know which one. You know, but of course Jun-young's not feeling it, so of course, you know, Noel, she's just like, fine, I'm not really that hurt. The next day, she's rubbing this raw egg against her face, and she's thinking about kind of what he said to her and where things are going wrong, and she gets so distracted that she busts the egg against her face and then does one of the nastiest things. Oh my gosh, even thinking about it now, it makes my skin crawl. She like turns around and sucks up the egg white that's leaking out of this egg that she busted on her face. Oh, Susie, why'd you do that? Oh, I'm sorry, but I do not like raw eggs in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't even eat Eggs Benedict because it's got that runny egg. I can't do that. I'm sorry. It's just runny, raw egg whites. Raw egg whites. Come on. But anyway, so she asked for another egg, and she's walking along the beach because the hotel that the staff is staying at for the filming, they're at this hotel that's on the beach. She sees Jun-young sitting there on the beach, and she approaches him and, you know, tries to like goad him into talking to her. And when he doesn't, she just, you know, tries to play that game that people do in K-dramas, like, well, you aren't saying anything, but I can read your mind, and I know this is what you're feeling. And of course, he doesn't really respond to that. I mean, she's right, but at the same time, he's not responding to it. Oh, she's kind of right, because right before she came out there, he had actually been thinking about the fact that, you know, he's going to be dying soon, so he had a lot more on his mind besides her. But yeah, after their little kind of meeting that didn't go so hot, she goes back to her hotel room and realizes that the dress she was going to wear to the film shoot is soaking wet in the bathtub, which, can I just ask a question? Maybe there's something wrong with me, but if your boss told you, hey, we're going to be doing a week stay at this hotel while we shoot some footage, you know, pack your stuff to be ready to do this, wouldn't you bring more than a dress and a sweatsuit? Like, did she really have no other clothes she could change into? And then even if you have like maybe dirty clothes to change into, you don't go to take a shower before you head to work? Like, really, Susie's kind of nasty in this show, to tell you the truth. But she shows up at the shoot in her same kind of Secret Garden Ajima sweatsuit that she wore the night before at the Noribang. And King Asshole, the actor that she's working for, he just reams her out. He's like, you stink, you're ugly, you're unprofessional, no wonder Jun Young fired you, you're never going to work in this industry again, I'm going to make sure I blacklist you and your boss, fuck y'all, leave. And she looks to Jun Young kind of to defend her, because she tells the actor, like, you know, why does it matter what I look like? All I'm doing is standing behind a camera filming. I don't have to look good, I don't have to smell nice, all I gotta do is my fucking job. But Jun Young doesn't defend her, and, you know, it's a big blow for her. It's a big blow. But, you know, she leaves and heads back to Seoul. When she gets back to Seoul, she has other stuff to think about. She gets a call from Nojik's school. She goes over there to talk to them. Turns out Nojik has decided that he is not going to go to college. And his guidance counselor, she called Noel in because she's like, your brother's brilliant. Like, your brother is the top student in his class. He could easily float into any of the Sky universities he wanted to. Which, in case you're wondering, Sky University is like, it's the 3 top schools in Korea. I think it's like Seoul University, Seoul University, I think Korean University, and then Yonsei University. I'm sure I've got it wrong, so don't be mad at me. I'm not sure. Anyway, she doesn't understand why he's not going to college. So Noel goes to talk to Nojik, and Nojik's like, I'm not going to college because we're poor. You know, we're ducking and dodging loan sharks all the time. We don't have steady places to live. You know, we don't eat good. We live a life that's uncertain and has no security, and I'm not going to make us go into even more debt for me to become a doctor, because in order to become a doctor, you're not just taking basic classes, you're also taking advanced doctoral classes, and that's a lot of money. And Korea doesn't have the same kind of student loan culture that we have in America. Yes, they do student loans, but it's not the way it is in the States. In the States, like, you literally could pay student loans for 30 years. In Korea, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. So, you know, she takes that as a real blow, because everything she's been doing up until this point, it's been for her brother. You know, he's the only family member she has left, and for him not to be able to pursue her dream, it makes her feel like she's failed in the one area that she'd hoped she had gotten right. So then she gets a call from Jitae's mother to come to their building to see her. And when she goes to the building, Jitae's mother is like, I need to talk to you. I need you to leave my son alone. And Noel's like, I'm not going to America. I'm staying here in Korea, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And she's like, I know, I didn't ask you to go to America, but I'm asking you to leave him alone all the same. I got a little something for you, and it is a check for 1 billion won, which is a crazy amount of money. Like, that is a lot of money. I think it's equivalent to almost $100,000 maybe. I'm not sure. It's like, I think it's like $100,000, something like that. Anyway, Jitae's nosy ass shows up while they're having this meeting. Noel hasn't taken the money yet, but shows up while they're having this meeting and is like, Mom, you can't bribe Noel. I told you to leave her alone. And Noel, he picks up the check like he's going to rip it up, like it's his to rip up. And Noel's like, hold up just a minute. I will take this check. So they go out in the hallway, Jitae and Noel, and Jitae's like, I can't believe you're going to take this money. And she's like, listen, I'm selling you out. I point blank, I'm selling you out. I'm selling you out because your family is never going to leave me alone. It doesn't matter how you think you can protect me. The fact remains that they will go to any lengths to protect themselves. They're never going to apologize to me. I'm never going to get justice from my father. And this money can make Nojik happy. And if Nojik is happy, then fuck what you heard. I'm willing to sell you, your mama, anybody to make him happy and to be done with all of this game playing you guys have done with my life. And of course, Jitae, you know, he's just kind of like, I can't believe you took the money. So she shows up to her friend Nari's job and is like, hey girl, I'm supposed to take you out. We're going to have a great time. They go to the store, and of course Nari's like, the fuck is going on here? And then that's when she pulls out the $1 billion billion won check, which, okay, I have to ask this question because, again, I'm not familiar with Korea, so I don't know how this goes. In America, if somebody gives you a check for $1 million, whatever else, you've got to go to the bank. You've got to deposit the money in the bank, and then you have like a debit card or cash, and you take those things to the store. I don't know what the fuck she was doing, just showing up to the store and handing them a $1 billion check, like, and take it out of this. What are you supposed to do? Clip it like coupon holes, and then once the whole check has been filled up, that's when you're out of money? Like, I didn't understand that at all. And of course the sales lady's like, we don't take this here. Here comes Jae because he didn't have shit else better to do. And he's like, I'll pay for it on my card because that's reasonable. And Noel's kind of like, no, I'll pay for it. It's for me, and I don't want to take your money. And Jae's like, do you not understand? This money that you took, this isn't just money for you to leave me alone. This is hush money for your dad. And of course, Nari is kind of like, that's what this money is about? And her and Noel get into it. And she's like, you are better than this. You don't have to take this cash and be the lapdog of these rich people. And Noel's like, no, I'm not better than this. My father always told me that I was too soft. I was too weak. And I'm going to take this money, and I'm going to make my life happy, and I'm going to make my brother's life happy, and I'm willing to make your life happy too. I'm willing to quit suffering and scraping by and us not being allowed to have our dreams and do what we want in life because of these assholes and us trying to be righteous while they're being villainous. I'm going to use this money they gave me, and I'm going to live. I'm going to buy a house, and I'm going to buy clothes, and I'm going to send my brother to college, and I'm going to have a life, and you can't keep me from it. And, you know, for the first time, I really felt a kinship to Noelle because I get where she's coming from. If I had to deal with years of struggle behind this one family, and they just wanted to buy me out, like, to be honest with you, I would have left the country. I'd have taken that $1 billion. Me and my brother would have left, and we'd have gone somewhere totally different because I would be done with all the bullshit, like completely. So when her and her friend get into it, because that's her best friend, she goes off and starts drinking these like alcohol Capri Sun packets and gets drunk and talks to her dad about, you know, Dad, what do I need to do? And Junyoung finds her, deposits her back at her friend's place. She wakes up the next morning after being deposited at her friend's place. There's a knock on the door, and it is the courier for Jungin, the section chief. Okay, the guy who used to work for Jae now works for Jungin, so he knocks on the door. So she goes to meet Jungin at Jungin's restaurant, and it happens to be Jungin's birthday. And Jungin is like, you need to apologize to me for stealing my man, and who do you think you are? You're no good. You should just go and die. And is like really, you know, trying to punk her, like throws food at her and is all up in her face and like, you know, kind of trying to choke her out a bit. And Jae comes in, of course, because he has to, you know, be Captain Save-A-Ho. And he's just like, I thought I told you to leave my woman alone. And of course, Noel's just like, I don't want anything to do with this bullshit. She grabs her phone and she's ready to leave. As she's leaving, she runs into Junyoung. And that's where her story cuts off for the episode. And I have to say, for Noelle, I was disappointed at first with the fact that they made her do this whole K-drama trope where, you know, the heroine at first doesn't want the advances of the lead guy, and then after that she can't stand to be without the lead guy even though he treats her bad. But I did appreciate the character change when it came to that money. You know, not saying that you should trade in your morals for money, but I totally understand just being fed up with it all. You know, that's the reason why people do settlements, because sometimes it's just not worth the years of litigation or the chance that you're not going to win or the harassment if you do win. Sometimes it's just worth it just to put everything behind you and move on. And I really got that, especially her brother. Like, if she wasn't going to take the money for any other reason, having her brother tell her, I'm not going to pursue my dreams because I just don't want you to struggle anymore, sis. Like, that's enough. Because her mother is gone. Her father is gone. Her brother is all she has. And when her brother, who she practically raised because her father died when he was super young, is telling her, I can't do anything because I don't want to put you in a worse position, it makes her feel like she's lost everything. So I totally got that. So I was with Noelle this show. Like, she was my one. The one I really couldn't get with it all was Jite. Jite, I've never had less of a case of second lead in my life. Like, there's just absolutely no second lead feelings at all. This is the thing about Jite. On the one hand, he could be sympathetic because he's a decent guy who comes from a corrupt family. But on the other hand, he's not ever been given an example of how to act right. And so the things he gets upset about are sometimes things that I wouldn't necessarily get upset about. But he's so ineffectual with, like, how to find justice. And he's just, I don't know, like, his moral code is screwed up. Like I said, he's a good guy from a corrupt family, so he doesn't really know how to go about things. But the stuff that he does just makes me, like, angry at him all the time. Like, I was angry at him for telling Noelle that she shouldn't take the money because I felt like saying, you know, you could have been helping her this whole time, so get out her fucking face, because you could have easily helped pay off those loan sharks a long time ago. You could have been helping her brother. You didn't have to say that you were the son of the Choys, but you could have been some other, like, beneficial guy to her, but instead you pretended to be poor and watch her suffer up close and in person, you know. Then, you know, he criticizes her for still loving Jun Young even though he loves her, and she tells him, well, you're criticizing me for loving Jun Young, but you love me and I'm not going to be with you, so, you know, we all have our own crosses to bear. And then probably the thing that sealed me against Jite the most is when he went up to Jun Young after he arranged to have a meeting over drinks, and it's like, oh, well, you can't drink this because you're dying. And he tells the man, I know the disease you have. I know you have so many months to live, so why don't you concentrate on dying while I concentrate on the girl? And it's just like, you know what? You are your father's son. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you are your father's son. Because this is the same kind of semi-good, semi-underhanded shit your dad does. You know, and his dad confronts him about it because, you know, he decides that he's not going to do what his parents want him to do anymore. So he's not going to be section chief, even though he could easily be section chief if he marries Jung-un, but he's not going to be section chief because he doesn't want to do what his mom and dad wants. And he's not going to marry Jung-un because he's not going to do what his family wants. And, you know, all this stuff in opposition to his family without thinking about, like, he's cutting off his nose to spite his face. You know, there's a lot of stuff he could do that could have been helping Noelle the whole time. But he's just so, like, I don't know if immature is the way to take this. He's just so naive about, like, how real bosses roll that, you know, he's landing all these punches, but they're not really going anywhere. Like, a prime example, he goes to the dinner table, and his mom is talking about how Jung-un's doing a great job as the section chief. And then he says, well, you know, Mom, people are laughing behind your back because they're saying she only got that job because of you. Then the dad turns around and says, well, that's what they said about you when you started the job and you were fresh out of college. And his dad was totally right, you know, but this is the stuff that he doesn't think about. Or when his dad tells him, you know, you're mad about your mom offering Noelle the money, but didn't Noelle take the money? Then what does that tell you? Like, he doesn't get it. And I'm getting so sick of him right now. Like, unless he can do something really amazing, I'm just sick of him and his kind of self-righteous act when he had so many opportunities for so many years to be right. Like, he could have turned in Jun Young. He knew who snatched Noelle's purse. He could have turned him in. He knew that his dad was up to no good, and when Noelle lost the case, he could have found a way to siphon the money to help her pay off the loan sharks, to pay off the debt that she owed the family. He could have, as his position as section chief, found a way to create a scholarship to help Nojik go to college so that wouldn't even be a worry for him because he'd have won the scholarship. Like, there's so many ways that he could have helped this girl. Instead, from the very first episode, he spent all his time being in moral outrage about what Noelle's been doing instead of really being there for her. And I was just like, fuck that guy. Like, I'm this way. He deserves to be with Jung-un because at least she's not naive. She's just stupid. Okay, so Jung-un, let's talk about her too since we're on people I don't like. Jung-un, she is caught in this weird thing where she kind of is flirting with Jun Young and trying to be like, are you trying to make moves on me? You know I'm engaged. And he's kind of like, no, I'm actually just acting normal. But, you know, he is throwing a little bit of charm her way because he's got a plan. He's trying to trap her somehow because the statute of limitations is coming up on the whole vehicular homicide thing. So he's got to get things moving in order to make it to where there's still a case that can be built against her. Because apparently in Korea there's a statute of limitations on murder. So anyway, she keeps coming into Jun Young's space. And it's weird because she's mad at Jitae for liking Noel. She's mad at Jun Young for liking Noel. She asked Jun Young if she can seduce him and take him away from Noel to make Noel jealous or whatever. Jun Young's like, no. And of course she's pissed off about that. But then when Noel gets paid to leave Jitae alone, you still can't let this girl go. And it's just like, the fuck? What do you want? What do you want? And it makes it to where it almost seems like the whole running over Noel's father was just like one of many instances of her being cold-hearted. Because the way she like totally spazzed out on Noel, there was no reason for that. There was no reason for you to call this girl from her home to come see you. There was no reason for you to keep berating her and everything else when she's supposed to leave Jitae alone. Then you answer the phone, Jitae shows up, and you, of course, again, you're like crazy pants. And it's just, what do you want? Jungin, I don't think she knows what she wants. I think she just doesn't want to lose. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not that she wants Jun Young. It's not even that she wants Jitae. She just doesn't want to lose because she grew up privileged and entitled, and people like her aren't supposed to lose. So she can't lose, especially not to somebody who's as pedestrian and looked down upon as her family has told her they should be. So I'm done with her, man. I'm done with her. When is she gonna fall off a cliff? Like, when is that happening? Jun Young, you know, Woo Bin hitting it out the park. Just love him so much. In these last couple episodes, he really dealt a lot with his sickness. You know, he's losing motor functions, and it's really been sad watching his physical decline because he still looks great. Like, he still looks fantastic, but, you know, little things like trying to pick up a water bottle, couldn't get it. His dog comes in the house and he tries to pluck a red fiber from his dog's hair, can't get it. Like, he's falling apart, and it's so hard to watch because it further kind of drives home the point that we have a limited amount of time left on this. Not just because the statute of limitations is running out on the murder, but also because he's running out of lifetime. And he's got this internal war within him about, I need to leave Noel alone because I'm not worthy of her. But at the same time, I see where she's finally opening up to my advances. I could just be happy and be with her, and we could just be with each other. But he also understands that I can only love her for so long, and then I'll be gone. And then she'll be left in this world without the justice she deserves and without the ease of life that she deserves. So, you know, the fact that he's taking his time to try to work all these things out for her, like, it really says a lot about his love for Noel, that he's got literally maybe 2 months left. He's spending every minute of his remaining time trying to make a better world for her when he's gone. Like, that is a love. That is a love. Even though he doesn't show it in this episode, it's a lot of times where he does some shit, I'm kind of like, eh. Like when King Asshole, the celebrity, is insulting Noel and he doesn't step in, I'm kind of like, you really gonna let him talk to your lady like that? Of course, he gets his own when he, like, beats in old boy's face. I thought that was pretty wonderful. And then also when Noel comes up to his hotel room and he throws her on the bed and starts unzipping her shirt and is like, do you want to sleep with me? At that moment, I was kind of like, no, this is too far. But at the same time, you know, when she's down for it, he backs off. And I'm like, okay, good. Don't make me hate you. But yeah, like, Jun Young is just, you feel the urgency of the matter. The time is running out, and I'm just, I don't know. I just don't want Jun Young to die alone, and I don't want him to die unloved, and I don't want his life to be worth nothing. You know, like that's my main thing. I don't want his life to be worth nothing. So that's what's going on. And then the little sub stories that I haven't really talked about, Nojik and Haru. I still don't like Haru. I don't like her character at all. But I am glad she doesn't lust over her half-brother anymore. But her and Nojik it is cute because she's so like fangirly and ditzy, and he's so like smart and focused. So they really are truly opposites attract. But also, the little boy who plays Nojik, he's a cute little boy, so I get why she likes him. I mean, he's cute. But they had a cute little interaction. And then the last thing I really need to talk about is Assembly Min Choi and Jun Young's mom. So Assembly Min Choi saw Jun Young's mom at the end of episode 12. They have a little sit down at a coffee shop, and they're both extremely nervous because they both have these strong feelings that they haven't acted on in years. So the mom calls in Uncle Friend. He comes into the coffee shop, and she pretends that that's her husband because she can't stand to tell the assemblyman that she's single. I don't know if it's because she's ashamed to admit that she's single, or if she's trying to put up a barrier between them and any romantic feelings that might be left, because she knows she still has this strong attraction to him all these years later, and maybe she's afraid that if she didn't pretend to have a husband, that she would be tempted to be this man's mistress because her feelings are that strong, because this is the same man that she cussed out her own child about how he wasn't worthy to be this man's son. So I mean, if you're willing to do all that, you got it pretty bad for this person. And of course, Assembly Min Choi is doing the Arthur fist under the table because, you know, he was hoping she'd be single, which I'm like, well, you're married and you got kids, so why are you worried about whether or not she's single? Because you're not. So it wouldn't matter if she's single or not, because you're not single. But of course, Assembly Min Choi, he can't stop thinking about her. He can't stop thinking about her. He can't stop thinking about the fact that Jun Young is her son. And then towards the end of episode 14, we see him put it together. Her maiden name is Shin. Jin Young's name is Shin. If she was married, why doesn't the son have the father's name? Why does he have her maiden name? And he's going to put that time frame together, and he's going to realize that that's his son. Then what is he going to do? So I'm looking forward to that for episodes 15 and 16. But I think I've gone over just about everything I could think of. I'm sure there's little stuff I've missed here and there, but I really enjoyed these episodes. Like, character-wise, again, this show is not about the plot so much. I mean, the plot's cool, but it really is about character motivations. And there's some characters I dislike, but for the characters I do like, I love them. And I really can't wait to see the good characters have at least something go right for them, because with Jun Young, there will be no happy ending. There will be no happy ending. But for the characters I dislike, I cannot wait for them to get their justice due. I cannot wait. So yeah, that's my review for these 2 episodes. Leave your comments down below if there's anything that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about. I'm totally ready to talk about it with you because I love this show. I really do love this show. And as soon as I get done talking to you guys, I'm going to be watching the last 2 episodes. So talk to you later. Bye.